Okay, all right. Just before we actually start, I just want to let everybody know I have a pretty bad head cold, so I'm sorry if I start coughing or I sound plugged up, but let me know if you need me to repeat myself. Okay, so I'm gonna need a motion to call this meeting to order at 1:02. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
All right. Officially called to order at 1:02. All right, so roll call. Ed, I see Ed.
Yep.
Okay. Chris Bridges,
Here.
Heidi Owen.
Yeah.
Anna White is not going to be on the call today. She had a last minute emergency. Lisa Scott, I see is there.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, and Craig Houston.
Yep.
Okay, I think that's everybody. Okay, so before I ask for a motion for the approval of the meeting agenda. Oh, Bob Peterson. Is he there? Councilman Peterson?
That's in the gallery.
Yes.
What?
Yes, he's there.
Oh, thank you. Okay. So before I get an approval for the meeting agenda, I'd want to make an amendment and move Bob Peterson up from the discussions up to just under public comments. So we're not wasting his time sitting through part of our meeting. Do I have a motion for that?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, do you have a second?
Yeah.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, great. So that passed with unanimous approval. So now can I have a motion to approve the meeting agenda with the new discussion with Bob moved up?
I'll make that motion.
Great. And I need a second.
Second.
Great. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion moved unanimous. Thank you. Now approval of the minutes from last meeting. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
Yes.
Okay, great. And then second. Okay, great. All in favor?
Aye.
Awesome. Okay. Moved with approval, unanimous. Okay, first announcement. I wanted to say welcome to Craig Houston. We're very excited to have you at your first official Parks Board meeting. So you're going to be a great asset. So thank you. Next announcement is from Heidi on her and Ed's presentation to the Parks Board.
Okay, so on February 28th, Ed and I presented the Parks Board presentation that we approved to in front of City Council. It seemed like it went well. I have received positive feedback from multiple sources. And just kind of want to recap, I want to get Ed's take. There were some comments that came from council members that I think that we might want to make note of. One is that Councilmember Sprigg mentioned that the budget for parks and how much of it is unused so far in this biennium. There are some things in there. Oh, yeah, she was kind of, it sort of seemed to me like maybe she's suggesting there might be money available.
Yes.
And so, yeah. Councilmember Noble commented that those funds are basically there for operations and expenses paying for staff. And in looking at it afterwards, because the mayor did say he would ask Angela Focos, the finance director, to attend one of our meetings, but I guess she couldn't make it to this one. But in looking at it afterwards, I mean, the summer fund money's still in there, and obviously it hasn't been spent yet. I don't know if he spent this summer. And I can't remember some of the other sources, but I do think that it is worth the board following up with the finance director, making sure we understand the budget. Ed, what comments do you have?
Well, about the same. I mean, I think it went well, and I was surprised to see that there may be some money available, and just to find the particulars, I guess, is what we need to find out, if we actually have access to them or if they belong to Public Works.
Oh, and that reminded me, because when you said that, is that I think that the funds in there for the scotch broom removal, and I think that there was like 25,000 for the North Canal Park, and I think those funds are still unspent as well. So it could be that we just have a big boatload of money that just hasn't been spent yet, but will be spent before the end of the year. I also want to thank Lisa Scott for her positive comments about the fact that the board is motivated, and I want to thank both Craig Houston and Chris Bridges for being there to support the presentation, and Ed for helping with it. We appreciate that.
Okay, great. Yeah, thanks, you guys. Again, you guys did an excellent job. And I heard a lot of great feedback from that presentation from people outside. So thanks again for doing that. Okay, public comment is next. I see that Don Williams is on. Don, if you have a public comment, you have 3 minutes.
No, no comments, just listening. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Okay, so next up, Bob Peterson in the Summer Fun Program. Is he there?
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm gonna move up here. Is that okay?
Yeah, please do join us.
Okay. All right.
Thanks for coming, Bob. We really appreciate it. The reason that we asked you to come is because we're all new to the park. That the fun program is a really important event that happens in our community, and we were just wanting to know a little bit more about it from you. So we were hoping you can give us some insight.
All right. Okay. Want to give you a copy of your department budget to detail of it, okay?
Okay, thank you.
This is the budget that was mailed to me the other day, I asked for it.
Okay,
And then I have another piece of the budget I'll go over here in a minute that talks about some of the things that you did, okay? About some of the money that's not been spent.
okay,
All right.
right.
There's the whole thing right there.
thank you.
First piece I want to talk about is in conjunction with that, is that here, and I'll give you this afterwards too, all right?
Okay, thank you.
It's a 2021-22 budget, biennium operating and capital budget, and it's parks. And the program description is the Parks Department provides and maintains. Can I take this down? Are you calling
Yeah,
it
it's
back?
fine, yeah.
All right, yes. Otherwise you won't be able to understand it, I don't think. The Parks Department provides and maintains recreational facilities throughout the city. Objectives of the program are to provide clean, safe, cost-effective recreational facilities for the enjoyment of citizens and visitors. Notable appropriations. $60,874 for the Children's STEM program planned in conjunction with the school district. 34,247 as was rebudgeted from 2020 since the program was canceled due to COVID-19. Then 25,000 for the North Canal Park restoration project, and they're all on there, I believe. And then $19,000 for Scotch Broom. Okay, and with that, I'll give you that.
Okay, thank you, and I'll make copies of these for everybody.
That'd be great. I was gonna do that, but I was home, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine, no worries.
Okay, so what I thought I would do is give you the kind of the history of the summer fun program. And I'll be reading this, as I pulled this off my computer today, the last one that we did, we presented to the council. And you'll see as I read through it, that some of it's already happened or it's out of date. But then I'll tell you about what we're planning on trying to do this year.
Okay,
Okay? The Summer Fun School 2019, this would have been the last year that we were able to have it due to COVID, okay? And this was our plan. Summer Fun 2018's objective was to provide a safe and stimulating environment for kids that incorporated STEM type activities along with social and emotional learning. The Summer Fun program was from July 9th to the 27th, 4 days a week for a total of 13 days. Summer Fun 2019 at Ocean Shores Elementary will be a 3-day-a-week program, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, beginning July 9th and ending July 25th. The shortening of the program from 13 to 9 days was an effort to align with the North Beach School District's summer school program. So the difference is first year we were all recreation and we had 13 days planned out. And the second year, the superintendent approached me and wanted to add in a summer school program with it. And so with, you'll see as we go through it, how that sort of work together and work separately at the same time.
So I just want to clarify, so the first year, the 13 days was in 2018 or 2019?
2018.
2018, and then in 2019, essentially they did 9 days, but it's blended in with their summer school program.
Right,
Okay.
we blended it, yeah. Summer school 2019, I already read, 2018 was financed to the city of Ocean Shores and a grant from the Grace Harbor Foundation. Total expenses were $22,696. And I think we were allocated for $30,000 that year.
Okay.
And we also got a $10,000 grant for supplies.
Okay.
2019 is financed by the city of Ocean Shores. A separate grant has been applied to for the State Parks and Recreation Department for just over $9,000. That's the grant that was we actually got. But we never used it because going into the next year, there was no program. And we were going to buy computers and backpacks for kids for trips and that kind of thing. So we just never took money. To date, expenses for 2019 are fluid as much depends upon the number of students who enroll, as there will be fees for each person who attends some of these scheduled trips. There are these stipends for administrative staff. We never charged any kid anything, period. We were able to cover everything. And that was always been our intent. You just never know each year how many kids you're gonna get.
That's
Like
what I was
the
just
first year
gonna ask
was
you.
45, pardon?
That's what I was just thinking, of how many kids were.
40 had 45 average per day the first year, and then the second year we had around 65.
Wow.
And we only dealt with age groups 8 through 13.
Did they come from across the district?
They came from Pacific Beach, they came across the district, yeah. And we bused them, we entered into agreement with the school district. They provided that last year, they provided busing for us. All we had to provide them the addresses and the kids' names, and they had to sign waivers and all their emergency information, just like they were enrolling in school. And
That was in 2019.
2019.
2019,
Yeah.
okay.
In 2018, we also provided busing.
Okay.
Let's see. And so by 2019, it's fluid this year, except the finances are not fluid. We have to find, I don't have to worry so much about that. But it's fluid in the sense that, we've been on the, I personally have been watching attendance and that sort of thing for the elementary schools here, seeing what the percentage of kids absent each day are. I check about once or twice a week and see what that is, because I'm tracking kind of the impact of COVID. And as you know, COVID has really impacted us last year and the end of the year before that. This year, things are much better. Things are much better. And we have many more kids in school, but there are still kids out there that are afraid to come to school, and their parents are afraid to have them come to school. So Summer Fun features a combination of programs involving the city of Ocean Shores and North Beach School District. And I don't know that we'll partner with North Beach again this year. I'm gonna meet with Andy Kelly. We're having coffee together Monday morning to discuss, A, do you want to partner? B, if you don't, can we use your facilities, meaning the elementary school? Because they might want to do a complete wash down of that place, and we might get in the way of that. But I have secured as a backup, I've got the convention center. And I talked to the director of the convention center, and she's given me a number of dates that we could use, actually use the convention center, and we could bring our busing right into there. And we've got a there's a full scale kitchen in there. There's plenty of room for indoor type activities. She even mentioned we could look mark off the parking lot a little bit for outdoor activities if we wanted.
Well, it will be right in the middle of summer, right?
It'll be, yeah, we start right around after the 4th,
Right, so,
and we go to August.
so outside activities would be a big bonus. I mean, that would be kind of a must, right?
What's that?
Outside activities would be really important since it's summer.
We are outside activities. This year, matter of fact, what we're trying, when I call it the steering committee, for lack of a better word, the people that helped me organize this thing and were involved from the beginning, we try to do as much outside as we can. And I'll give you a list of things that we did this year that are coming up here in a minute, okay? But we may, if we're at the convention center this year, for instance, we're gonna be doing everything outside. We're gonna be day tripping all the time. We laughed at a couple of years ago about how many miles the kids put on the buses. And they were veterans of the road that year. So the North Beach approached this ordinance school year to discuss a way to incorporate summer school activities and enrichment activities as summer fun. The result is there will be a summer school program in Ocean Shores Elementary. Again, this is 2019. And the summer school program will focus on reading and math in elementary school, in elementary schools, and credit retrieval. We worked with the high school on 2019 on getting kids who were might not graduate. We worked on a credit retrieval program with them to get them into school, so into their summer school, and there were several kids that were able to graduate because of it. So that works. That was kind of nice.
So that was part of the summer fun program? I thought you focused on 8 to 12, 13-year-olds. I'm just confused how that.
We did, but since we were running buses, say to Pacific Beach,
Uh-huh.
and kids out there maybe needed to get.
Oh, you busted them in.
Yeah,
Okay,
all
yeah,
that, we took every kid that came to us,
Okay,
okay? Yeah, but we didn't put the big kids, high school age kids, into the daily camps because it wasn't appropriate,
right.
okay? So we tried to serve every kid the way we could. And actually, we got some of those kids to work as counselors and get credit for it. And some of them we paid, it just depended on how it all worked. And we also worked with Youth Works that year, and they gave us a couple of kids that were paid for by the their program. So it's a bunch of different things. So, and in the summer, in our summer school portion of it, that we would do activities and then we would maybe jump into 30 minutes of reading. And we had the computers there at elementary school right off the cafeteria, and boom, we had about 6 groups of 8 kids. And we had a leader with them, a teacher, and we had an assistant, and we would say, okay, reading. And they would just boom, they'd go and get the computers, sit down, and they would work through the iReady program, it was at that one time. And iReady takes you where you're at in your studies during the school year with reading, and takes you right into the next program. You pass that one, you go on to the next one. And so it keeps track of you. You're not starting over all the time. So it's nice for the kids because they knew how to use the program from school. And they were, they were really compliant, and they enjoyed it. But we didn't give them much of it at a time, and certainly not more than 30 minutes at a pop, maybe a couple times a day. So they didn't even know they were really doing school. And all 3 sites incorporated enrichment activities along with academics. Each site, and we have Pacific Beach going back here too, Pacific Beach Elementary, their own unique schedules and activities. There was some partnering between certain schools on certain days for field trips that we did. Focusing on Ocean Shores Elementary for the rest of this report. Program ran from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. daily. Transportation from home to school provided by North Beach School District. Breakfast and lunch will be provided. So we fed kids breakfast and lunch, and that was part of our cost. And that Ocean Shores Elementary, Diane Solom arranged the people that came in the morning and the afternoon, noon to lunch, and had a cadre of about 8 ladies that would come in, including the mayor. They would come in and do their work and boom, be gone. And they would even interact with the kids because we got everybody cleared through the highway patrol. So we don't put anybody out there who are in direct contact with a kid that has any kind of offense. so to speak. We're very, very strong in that. And matter of fact, we only have employed teachers to actually work with the groups, be leaders of the groups. So we're trying to, because if we do anything, safety is the very first thing. So when people put their kid on that bus, they send them to school, and they get home, they know that they've been with professionals all day. Okay. This year, we actually, if we open up this year, we even have a nurse on board because of COVID and anything else like that. Okay, breakfast, lunch provided, certificated teaching staff provided, paid by Northeast School District, volunteers to do administrative work activities in art instruction. Volunteers provide support to teaching staff. Teaching staff will provide support to volunteers in activities and field trips. Enrichment activities included that year. Under our first week was environmental theme, visit to the interpreter center, the tide pool, and a STEM activity that we created. One of the STEM activities was after we visited the interpreter center and the tide pools, we had interpreter center did that for us. We took them down to the beach, and then they had lunch, and they created a project of their own. And they built houses, they built all sorts of little things. And it was an amazing thing to watch because they incorporated all of the portions of STEM. And at the end of the day, we came back to the elementary school and debriefed on it. And I said, what did you guys learn about STEM today? What did you do in science? What did you do in technology? What did you do environmentally? And they all could relate it. And it was very cool, even though it was third world, but technology they were using, they were building. It was kind of interesting because the boys did two houses and they both fell down. The girls just kept watching and they built their own big one. It was real interesting. So the first week was that, and then Weatherwax tour and instruction in trees and fauna, science, photography, math, tree measurement, and how to determine how old trees are. Preparation for Tacoma Rainiers visit. We were going to watch Rainiers play one afternoon. And so we're focused on baseball statistics. He taught everybody how to do batting averages and things of that nature. Then the Lake Quinault Rainforest, we went there. Second week, cultural events. We went to Tacoma Rainiers game. And that was statistics and math, obviously. Before the game, they had us down on the field. And these kids now, most of the kids are 8 to 13 years old, have never been to a baseball game. And the game was a good game. And it was one in the bottom of the ninth by the Rainiers with a home run. And from about the seventh inning on, these kids were just engrossed in the game, and they knew what was going on. It was really interesting to watch. And I think we created a couple of baseball fans that day. I hope at least. Yeah. And then we went to the same week, we went to visit Opal Glass Blowing over in Cosmopolis, I guess it was. And we related a geometry lesson to glass blowing. Then we did a visit to Grays Harbor National Wildlife Refuge on the way home. And then we came back on Friday that week was, I guess we worked on design, measurement, plotting, wrapping up proposed garden and preschool playground at Ocean Shores Elementary, incorporating math, measurement, design, and horticulture. If you go there now, you'll see that playground, and you'll see the garden house right there. But this was the beginning.
Right.
Third week, cultural exploration week, research team developed to begin gathering information on history of Blake Island, Silicon Village, Quinault Nation. We had a native art class. We have an art teacher who has 2 kids, and she's just incredible, but she's not really an art teacher. She's a person who in town who's interested in art and can really get it through to kids. So measurement, design, and horticulture that week. And then we did native art and informational presentations. So all the groups, the various groups that we had, they took a portion of what we were doing that week and they did a report on it, a verbal report. Nothing, they had to sit down and write everything, just worked as a group and said, we let them work a little bit each day and they had to do it on Friday for us. And then that day we had that was the end of the week and then we still were into the year. And we had what's what's the theater group we have?
Oh, yeah, what's it called?
Driftwood, no.
What was the question?
Yeah.
What?
What was the question?
The theater group,
The theater group.
The Driftwood Players or something like that?
Driftwood Players?
Yeah.
no, they're in.
No, it's the, is it the 7th Street Kids?
No,
No.
that's okay.
Yeah, they haven't been.
Well, anyway, the group is,
Yeah.
that group, I mean,
Right.
some offshoot of that group came in and Eric Noble's wife was one of them.
Right.
And
Yeah.
was one, and they came in and they created a wearable art show
Fun.
going off of here, happened here, and they did that for the parents. Parents had lunch with them, and then we had, Jeremy, one of our, youth people, he had taught him how to, do a dance, like a, I want to call it a rap dance, but not a rap dance. No, what would it be?
Breakdancing?
Not break dancing,
No?
no.
Not-
Anyway, it was choreographed and then they did that.
No.
And kids of all ages did it. I mean, it was all voluntary. They didn't, some kids jumped into it, some kids didn't, that kind of thing like that. And that's how we ended it. And so, so that was the last day that we had summer fun.
And that was in 2019.
Yeah.
And it sounds like based on the way you're describing it, it sounds like it's fun and educational for the kids and fun for you.
I can't hear you, sorry.
Oh, I said, based on what you're saying, I mean, it does sound like that it's both educational and fun for the kids. And yeah.
It's a STEM program.
Yeah,
That's how we,
right, and-
that's how we,
Well, that's how they
presented it.
learn, yeah,
Yeah.
they learn through fun activities, especially in the summer. So we want to hear, I think part of the reason that we invited you is because we wanted to understand what the plan was for 21 and a little bit about, you mentioned some things that obviously that you'll have as the cost of expenses, like the buses, the food, the teachers, you also mentioned a nurse, so we want to understand those funding needs and then because we are thinking of like the future and then going forward and how does then this get supported in the future, given that it got extra money this year and those kind of things. And I don't know if anybody else has anything to add.
Well, I have a couple things. So yeah, so Bob,
Yep. You're right.
so the grant that you got from the state,
The
not
nine-
the Ace Harbor Foundation, but the state park for the
Uh,
9,000 that you didn't use, does that go forward or is that gone? I missed that part.
I think it's gone.
Okay, have you ever reached out to the Y and asked for their assistance? Because they do this kind of thing in other cities. They give money for this exact thing.
No, I've never reached out to them because
Okay,
we didn't need them. We wanted to go it ourselves and create our own program. We got funded well enough. And plus we got a grant for, from the Grace Harbor Foundation for the busing.
yeah. So I know that the Y can help support like the food costs. I know that they've done that in the past. So maybe I could get a contact and reach out to them and see what they can do. If not this year, maybe in the future.
Maybe, yeah. We don't have, again, we don't have to worry about that this year. If we get it off the ground this year.
So say more about that.
Well, getting off the ground is, right now, it looks as if, there's a good shot that things will be safe enough.
Okay, so you're worried about COVID,
Yeah, that's all it is for me
okay.
right now. I don't think anybody wants to take on the liability, for bringing a group of kids together and, having them all get sick. Because these kids, I mean, when they come, you have to think about it, when they come together, they're on top of each other.
Yeah, right.
You know, they're
Sure.
in the bathroom together, they're, you know, hugging on each other, and no matter what you do to try to keep them apart, there's still gonna be.
Yeah.
And the other thing you don't know is what type of home they're coming from. You don't know whether they've been vaccinated, not vaccinated, anything. So we have to be, we're careful anyway, but, which is why we started, in the first thing we'll do in our sit-down planning is we'll look to see how many days we're gonna go, and then we'll try to plan every activity we do outside.
Well, say you put it on hold for this year
Yeah,
and then go into 23. I mean, so whose decision is that?
who's one?
Whose decision is that?
Right now it's well, the city will take my recommendation on it,
Okay,
yeah, and that'll be based upon, just safety.
do you have it, are you going one way or another right now?
I'm actually leaning toward, I wouldn't be here unless I was leaning toward that we can get this off the ground. And I've already got a director for the summer, the on-site director, who has been a part of the planning, of the program in the past and actually been, one of the co-directors during the day. She's agreed to take that on this year if we have it. And then I've got two school board members that will press for it too, if there's any kind of pushback from the district. And we have access to teachers.
Okay, how do you anticipate the number of students?
Well, okay, good question. We have if I would have brought all the stuff that we, from our 2 years, it's like 3 big bins of stuff. We have a sheet that will be given out to the schools. We'll give a presentation at the schools and talk to them about it. And we have plenty of alumni in there. The kids all know about it. And they ask about it all the time. And their home teachers will give them a form to take home. And if they want to, they
Okay,
fill it out, bring it back. And so we start getting our numbers in. And we also start plotting, our transportation department starts plotting where these kids are. So how many buses we need and that sort of thing like that. Also helps us with ordering the food.
mhm.
And again, it's sort of almost the same thing as when you sign up for school. Matter of fact, we kind of patterned it out there. We've got emergency contacts, health information. And that's all it's all kept under lock and key, so it's confidential.
Are you doing a 3-day a week program this year or? thinking
Well, I
about it?
think the 3-day a week really worked out well.
Yeah,
I think we would probably try to go Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday,
For 3 weeks again.
maybe 3, maybe 4,
Okay.
depends. Because one of the things that the having it during the week, one of the things that I designed it for was initially I thought about kids coming back at the beginning. I'm a school psychologist, so I did that, for 100 years, and stopped doing it that last year. And now I'm doing principal stuff that deal with elementary school and high school when their principals are out. So what you always have at the beginning of the school year here is you have socialization problems. Kids coming back to school who have been watching computers all summer long or not getting out and playing in groups, that kind of thing like that. And it's all kind of hunky-dory when they come back for the first few days, then the fights start. Both boys and girls, and so this is an opportunity for them to actually make new friends, first of all, and see their old friends during the summertime and keep that connection going. Because when they go home after that last day we have of the week, whether it's Thursday or Friday, they can make plans to get together during the weekend. I started doing this with baseball kids that I coached years ago. And I did a thing called the game. We would play 3 days a week, and I just bring the equipment out and they would play.
like the Sandlot.
Sort of like that, except what I would do, I would teach something each day, a skill each day, and then they would play pickup games. And they always hooked up and made connections, and So they didn't stay inside during the weekends. Also, some of these kids are such social isolates. You wouldn't believe it.
So we-
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so with mask mandates apparently going away here by the end of the month.
Yeah.
That,
Week.
or end of the week, so, well, I'm just talking about the month,
So not in
so.
schools.
Not in the schools.
Right.
But children overall, even though they're back in school, they're all over each other.
Exactly.
Okay, even in school. So, and it sounds like there's a lot of logistics involved here in getting this started. And it sounds like we're just at the very beginning of even talking about doing this, right, and getting this started. Shouldn't we, if we're thinking of doing this, shouldn't we start moving forward to, at least to the point of getting a plan, finding out what days a week and starting to get all of that? I mean, July is not that far away, not really. Before you know it, it'll be 4th of July weekend here.
Right.
So how can we help to get this started for you? What can we do?
I don't think there's anything really. I mean, we'll hold a meeting here within the next 2 weeks and decide on the days. First of all, decide if we're gonna have it. Secondly, decide on the days. Thirdly, I've asked the people, the steering committee, to think about what activities we want to try to do. We want to go to Tillicum again? Do we want to go, we want to do more beach work this year? What do we want to do?
So where does the park board play into this?
It really doesn't.
How is the steering committee formed?
From the teachers that were originally involved in this,
So is North Reed School District and the organizational entity that this program is run under, or who is operating this program?
me,
So you're the one that has sole liability if anything happens on these trips and
City
on this
does.
activity?
the city does. We
How
get-
is that transfer of responsibility occurring from the city to a program that you're independently organizing?
It's a good question, because it's not under, if it's not under parks, then what, then
Well,
what
they put it
body
under,
is it
they put
under?
it, they put it under parks,
But
but on a
if the
separate
board
line
doesn't
item.
have a role on the subcommittee, how is it under parks?
You'd have to ask Angie Fulkerson.
And she's not here.
Angie Fulkerson?
Fulkerson,
She's
she's the,
Yeah, she's the
She's
finance.
finance director.
Sure.
Okay. Well, yeah, because we love the program. I think the program's amazing. I don't think that we do enough, Bob, and I think that you and I both agree with this for our youth here in Ocean Shores. And we're here to support you in any way we can. And that, I mean, I know you're always looking for volunteers to help. I mean, maybe you're not, but I feel like most people are looking for volunteers. And I know that the last Parks Board meeting, we talked about maybe having a couple representatives helping out, this year, any way that we can.
Yeah.
If you want to have a couple people come and when we have meetings, fine. I don't care about that. That's no big deal.
Well, not only at meetings, I was talking about during the program, the summer program, volunteering, being another, supervisor, adult, whatever you need.
Do we have people that are not engaged during the day? This all happens during the day.
Right,
Right. Well, the last meeting we had, Chris Bridges and Ed Schroll agreed that they would alternate the weeks
yeah.
and help out if that's going to help you out.
Well, when we hold the first meeting, I will let you know
Okay.
where it is. And
Okay.
you can get a couple of representatives there. And you can have input as to what we decide we're gonna do it, where we're gonna do it. All the options.
Right, the way at least that I'm perceiving, what I'm hearing from you, is yeah, it's under parks, but it's not really a Parks and Rec program, it's really completely separate, it's just that we have to put it somewhere.
Right, it's not a
So
separate
you
line.
don't really think that the Parks Board is, because we were looking at it as like, what do we do to support it more? And we're looking, because we're redoing the comp plan, trying to also understand how can we do a better job of recreation in Ocean Shores anyway? So that's why we kind of felt like it is part of parks, but now, I mean, just for clarity, that's not how you.
It's never been part of parks before. I mean, it's never.
So why did it get parks put on the form here?
Well, there's,
Well,
it's where the line item go, that's all. Line
Yeah.
item is the budget, that's all, they put it underneath there.
Just a little history, because I talked to Jeannie Finke, who was on the Parks Board from 1999 to I think 2004.
Right.
And they had some funding that they got, and they kind of started a summer fun program back then, which was under parks, and they had a halftime person who worked with the police, under the police of chief, I think, that basically coordinated, and they used the different parks areas, they had like art, like, I think I don't know, they did it 2 or 3 days a week, but it was spread out throughout the summer where they did like an art project, or they bring in some like sports people, you know, and then they do like a basketball camp and things like that. So there was a little bit of history of something like this before, but it sounds like that yours kind of restarted as a partnership with schools. And so.
It didn't start that way.
It didn't start that way, okay.
No, the second year, the schools wedged their way in, so to speak.
Okay,
And it actually started with, when I asked, to be truthful about it, when I went to the superintendent and asked him, how are we gonna split the cost this year do we still have the school? And he didn't really answer, and then I asked him, well, will you take X amount of dollars for busing this year? And then he said, where are you gonna bus them to? And I kind of ended the conversation, and walked away from it. Then he called me back and said, well, let's talk about this, because he was trying to implement the summer school program.
Right.
They were having trouble getting it off the ground. And it says, so if you get it off the ground, we'll cooperate with, in the sense that those kids that are going to summer school, maybe we'll incorporate it in during the day. We couldn't really have it at different times, because we were going to get the kids, say, in PD and bring them down here, and then are we gonna teach them? Are they not gonna be involved in the program, whatever? So they had to be a dual enrolled, so to speak. Otherwise, it would have been horrible to try to keep track of everybody.
so really, because we spent a lot of time on this, and it's been great, but I don't want to spend too much more time because we've got a lot more to cover. But does anybody have any questions for Bob before we, wrap this one up? I think you've done a great job. Thank you, Bob. Really appreciate you coming and explaining the program to us. And it sounds like that at your next meeting, it sounds like you might have like a board, if you will. It's pretty a loose board for the program, but you're going to let us know when that next meeting is, correct?
Yeah, you can send a couple of people.
thank you so much.
Well, my question,
Sure.
the funds, are they coming out of the park board, the park funds for
It's
the
a,
program?
it's a lineup.
Yeah.
So if you look on, let's see, this, where it says those City of Ocean Shores Department Budget Detail, it's a single page.
Yeah,
It'll be, oh God, where-
Under supplies, which is in the middle,
yeah, under supplies,
operating the summer fun
yeah, some
program.
fun. Yeah,
so that is out of the park budget.
that's put there, so that everything has to be under some budget heading.
Yeah, and if that's my question around the organizational structure of this, because this seems questionable just from seeing it for the first time, that this is a line item under parks, but just to not hear that there's really any organizational structure beyond yourself to this is a little concerning. And I guess from a continuity standpoint, I'd want to see how we're living in such an age of uncertainty, so how would we sustain something like this that you've helped to build if something happened to you? Like, we'd be in a hole.
the other people that are on the steering committee.
And I guess that's what I'm trying to get at is like, how do we know who those people are? And how do we get involved more with them?
Well, actually, what you could do, if you really wanted to research it, you could go to Angie Folkers. And Angie Folkers would actually have the names of all the people that we were employed by us the last time. That's public, that's public record. And so all the people that were paid a stipend were on that board.
But what about the decision-making and how that,
It was the same group,
okay?
same group.
So could we change parks to another board, pick a board, any board?
Well,
Then it would be their budget. I mean,
Well,
that's.
you can put it under anyone. I mean, it's Angie's decision. That's where she put it.
right, no, I understand, and I understand why Angie put it there, I get that, but we, again, being under a Parks Board line item and the Parks Board not meeting for 18 months, and we're all new except for Chris. We were very curious as to the program, and I think it's a great program. And like Craig says, how do we sustain this if something happens to you? And we want to support this, and so that's what we're trying to figure out. And I really do appreciate your time, Bob. I know that you are a busy man, so thank you really for coming. But we can, it is what it is, and we can talk to Angie when she comes and has a meeting with us about some things, and we can talk to her then. So,
All right, guys. Thank you. I'm out.
thanks.
For next month.
All right.
Okay, moving on, old business, Heidi, comp plan. So we spent a lot of time with Bob, which was great, but let's see if we can try and be a little speedy with some of the stuff.
I notes here, so to make it faster, I'm just gonna.
No, it's okay. That's all right.
So the first thing I want to do, I'm gonna take this off because I know I'm not very understandable. The first thing I want to do is clarify again why we're doing the Parks Comprehensive Plan. So because, and the reason I felt like it was important to do this is because it's kind of like looking at it, it's like I must admit that, when going back, I wasn't really clear why it was there, except it related to the city comp plan. But now I understand a lot more. And one is because the state has this, which you probably have heard of, the Recreation and Conservation Office. And RICO, or no, I call RICO, but as Kristen pointed out, it's not RICO, RCO does grants. And we want to apply for some of those grants. So there is that reason, because you are required to have a plan if you go after these grants. Second thing is that it does support the city and it allows us to justify the things for the budget. But there are certain elements that RCO requires. Because right now, the plan is so long. It's cumbersome. So one is you have to have goals and objectives, where your goals are aspirational and the objectives are realistic and measurable. And there were lots of those in the last plan, and we've already worked on shortening some of those, and we think that can be done much more significantly. Second was the inventory, which we were working on in chapter 2, which I'll get to in a minute. That includes assessing the condition of the parks or the potential parks, and capacity is important there. Next is public involvement, and this is the area that we are the weakest. And this is why I wanted to bring this up, because there was public involvement supposedly when they did the last one, but we need to re-engage the community on this update. We need multiple methods. We need to figure out whether we're gonna do surveys, meetings, focus groups like we have for the dog park, and other ways. So, and I also wonder if we want to do a focus group for recreation in Ocean Shores. So, which is why I thought we were inviting Bob, because we kind of felt like the summer fund is a recreation program, and it's interesting that they don't see it as such. So okay. The next one is demand and need analysis, and that chapter is chapter 5 in the current plan. That's the chapter that's gonna need the most work. We're gonna have to get a lot updated census information and try to balance the inventory with the public demand, but I still think we gotta get out there. Because I think that this is the weakest area and we gotta engage the public. And then there's a capital improvement program of at least 6 years is what they require. Land acquisition, I don't think is our problem. Our problem is development, renovation, and restoration. And they ask that these are ranked, and then findings adoption. So I just wanted to say that those are the things that are the focus. So that's it, we've already done our initial work on chapter 1, which really focused on the goals and objectives, and we said we were gonna have to come back to it. Chapter 2 is really the inventory. And so that's what we were supposed to talk about today. We aren't ready. We had to put aside the work, the ad hoc committee had to put this aside to complete the ARPA fund request. And for logistical reasons, we just weren't able to re-meet most because of my condition. So we're gonna hopefully address it this month, but we need help. We need help from the board. So section 2.1, if you want to make a note of that, section 2.1 in chapter 2 is the current inventory. And I mentioned this last time, but I want to be very clear. We need all members to read their park sections, and Craig, we're gonna have to get you assigned parks, and we'll do that today. We want you to look for accuracy and other issues, but I also want you to add comments about the park condition. So, like things that maybe as you're there, you're walking, you see goat heads, or there's lots of goose poop, we got a goose problem, those kind of things, and forward the comments to me. So all the parks that are currently assigned are in there, there's additional parks. Triangle Park, Kristen is doing, I'm gonna do Gooey Duck and King Cyrus. So I need somebody though to do McGee Trail at the Cultural Interpretive Center, any volunteers? Okay, so that's Craig, so if you put that on here. Make a note of that, I'll put you down here. Peninsula.
I'll take that one
Port-
too.
Okay, great, thanks, Craig. So this will be, these are not regularly assigned parks, so that's why we need this. And then Ed, okay, that's our current inventory. The next one is the undeveloped park, and Ed is working on that section, he has already done it.
I've done that.
You've done that, okay, so can you forward me your comments?
I can, well, what I mostly did is I visited each site and I took pictures, because they're very self-explanatory. And
Okay,
I could either forward you those pictures, or we could go through.
well,
whatever
why don't
you
we meet
wanna
one
do.
day, and then I can do the edits as you're telling me about it.
Sure,
So then we'll do it that day, we'll meet one day to do that. Okay,
all right,
sounds
so let me,
good. Okay, go ahead.
real quick here, we can meet next month. I want you all to know I'm going to be pretty much most of the month out of the country, so I won't, April, so I will not be able to make next meeting. I'll be gone from the 4th through the 25th, but I am available anytime prior to that, and of course after that.
Okay, so after the meeting, let's find the time on the calendar to
Okay.
do this in the next
You got
few weeks, okay. Then section 2.2 does recreation facilities, which are currently defined as bike paths, pedestrian paths, the High Dunes Trail, which they're gonna be developing, lakes and canals, and city access. So they don't, because it's interesting, so like the tennis courts and stuff are considered current, I guess, in current parks, so they don't treat those as separate things. So we need somebody to do the bike paths list which is section 2.2.1.1 to 2.2.1.6, so there must be 6 of them.
I can, because I'm a biker. I've biked all these paths.
So can you take those?
I've biked them all, so I can do it.
I'm surprised those aren't road department.
Well,
Department.
But they're part of the park, so
parks, it's because, it's kind of like a lot of that operations for all of that's under parks anyway. So Kristen, I put you down for bike paths.
Yep.
Pedestrian paths, there's 3 of them. Do we have any takers for pedestrian paths?
Where are they at?
You can look at it, it's 2.2.1.7 to 2.2.1.10. So there must be 4 of them, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, I could pull it up if you need to.
I can do the Canal Drive one, the pedestrian path, because that's also part of my bike route. I can do that.
Okay. So do we want to sign these separately? So let me see.
So I'm gonna do 2217.
You're gonna do 2217, so you need somebody to do 2218 to 22110. Let me see.
Yeah.
Let me see. And Anna isn't here, and I don't know how available she is right now.
Did you say 2218,
22.
1.8?
Yeah, I'm trying to get to
Is
it.
that,
I'll just do it. I'll do it. It's not that hard.
The future Chancellor Mark, Bike Park, the future.
I'll just do them all. I'll do the bike path and the walking path. Yeah, it's easy.
Okay, the High Dune Trail is covered. The lakes and canals, we got covered, and then we've got all the access to the dunes and the beaches. And it's like, my problem is, I would walk and do more of these, you guys, but I
Okay,
just
good.
never know what my next situation is.
I can take the dune access and beaches.
Okay, that's quite a big list. It's so Chris, or Craig,
Well,
so.
if anyone wants to take half, I'm happy to.
I'm
split
kind
it.
of lost
Where,
myself.
yeah, what page is that one on?
It's.
Oh, I found it. Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
Three is where they start, so they start at 2.2.31 and go all the way to 2.2.314.
So we're looking at sports.
there's a
Okay.
lot of them.
So let me tell you, Craig, let me tell you which ones I'll help you with. I'll do obviously the 2239. That's the South End Jetty access. I'll do that. And I'll do Damon Point, which is 2238. And there should be, hold on a second. Trying to think of what's by me here.
We're gonna review it, it means we're gonna go and do what I asked at the beginning, which is
Yeah,
you look at the conditions, look at, like, is the description accurate? So that we can edit to make sure that stuff is accurate.
right.
That's why I was answering Chris's question.
Oh, I'm sorry. And then I'll do the Marine View Drive, the 22341.
Okay,
These are all just, oh, and 2231, which is Sportsman. These are all really close to my house, so they're really easy to get to.
and I will do, Craig, I will do 2.2.36, which is Butter Clam. And 0.2.314, which is Taurus. So does that,
Does that help you?
Yeah,
so how many does that take off your list? Does that take off 6 or 7? Or there's-
Well, I'll take some.
Okay, which ones will you take?
yeah, 7 for me.
I'm still marking who's gonna take these first, so I know what's left.
Somebody take Driftwood. Reject this.
Which one's Driftwood? Oh, 2.2.3.2.
Okay, so that's Craig?
No,
I'm
he
just
wants someone
asking.
to take
Oh,
that.
okay.
Oh, I was just asking if somebody already did.
Oh, did someone take it? Did you take Driftwood, Kristen?
No.
Okay,
So is that one still open for
yeah,
you? I can take that one.
okay.
And what about 3.3? We talked, was that 3.2 Driftwood?
That's 3.2 is Driftwood and
Ocean Beach.
3.3 is Ocean Beach.
Does that one need a home?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Okay, I'll take that one.
Okay, so that leaves Decatur, Tonquin, and then 2.2.310 and 13. I can do that.
What about
Okay, perfect.
4.2 Marine View Drive, Damon Point? Was that Heidi
Wait,
or was that Kristen?
what was the number?
I could, yeah. Mhm. Yep,
Number, Chris?
It's 342.
yep, me.
22. Marine View Drive, Damon Point Beach Access. You want that one?
Oh, are you doing Marine View, all the Marine View drives under?
Yes,
3.3?
yes. I'm 4-2. Yes, 3, that's me. Mhm.
Okay, so
Okay,
now we have Decatur.
No, that was Craig.
Are you? Yeah, I got Decatur and Conklin, and then Oyhut State, Chantal Lamar, Pacific Boulevard, and Ocean Lakeway.
Are there any others you wanna, pass off, or you, cause
That's fun.
you got it, okay,
Yeah.
all right, awesome.
I'll
Okay,
take
so
my dog.
that,
Now back me up a little bit here, so where are we starting, because
so again, what I'm asking for is that for your parks or for a section you've adopted, that you read the park section. You look for accuracy and other issues, and you add comments about the park conditions. Then you can forward them to me, or if you'd rather set up a time to meet, either in person or by phone, we can do it that way. So that will then get chapter 2 ready for the next meeting. So,
So Heidi, we go there and we just get you this information. Do you have an end date? Like a date that you would like this information by?
yeah, let's say that I need it by the end of the month, so it gives me time to make sure I have all the edits by the 13th.
Okay, okay,
Thank you, that's good point.
okay. Thank you. All right, so do we have it covered?
Yeah, I think that's it. That covers all the stuff for chapter 2, so, and then we've got everything assigned, so that's perfect.
Okay.
That's a lot, because it was too much to
Great.
get someone open up to.
Perfect.
so it's not making, I've got only 2 of these, Driftwood and Ocean View.
Well, along with your regular parks.
Right.
This was just an addition to your regular parks.
You have a lot, Kristen.
But they're right by me. And trust me, I know those bike trails really well, really well.
Hey, I have you down as,
I have the Coastal Interpretive Center Trail, the McGee Trail, the Peninsula Court and Bay Access Park, and the Decatur Beach Access, Portland Beach Access, Oyhut State, Chantal Lamar, Pacific Boulevard, Ocean Lakeway.
thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Completes under old business for chapter 2, but I just want us to keep in mind where we're going, and that there's gonna be some real work that's gonna hit here this summer. We need to start thinking about how we're gonna do public engagement. I just wanna throw out, so kind of mull that over so we can talk about that in a future meeting.
Can I throw something in on
Sure,
that?
sure.
We were at the last meeting, right, at the last city council meeting.
Right.
I'm sure you noticed that the library sent somebody in to talk just for the 3 minutes to
Right.
talk about what's going on at the library, the new stuff. We should take advantage every month at the city council meeting, having one board member, anybody, just talk about the progress we're making, what we're doing, and what we're hoping to achieve. Just 3 minutes worth. We're in front of the public. Lots of people listen to it. It's recorded on tape, it's recorded on the
And
radio,
it's replayed.
and it gets replayed, and it's free, and you have a ready-made audience. And I don't think we should give up that opportunity any month at all. And we could spin that around and have anybody that's willing to stand up for 3 minutes and talk to the city council. And that way, we're not just in the public's ear, but we're in the city council's ear.
I agree.
Yeah, and Ed, we can talk about that another time, but I mean, I agree. We will. We just did that presentation because, there has not been a parks board for so long that we needed to get in front of council for more than 3 minutes. But going forward, it's brilliant. And that's a really good use of our time. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree, and I think it would be really cool if we had ideas of how we were going to engage them, because it's a way, like, for example, if we're gonna have a booth at Sand and Sawdust Festival, then we can say that, if
Right.
we're gonna post a survey online, we can
Right.
say that. So I think that's a really good suggestion.
Yeah. And we can add an agenda going forward for discussion of what we want to talk about for 3 minutes at council. So I can add that. So, okay, is that it for comp plan, Heidi, for that?
Now, yeah,
And Heidi, just for the record, I have a lot of experience doing planning with public engagement.
oh, well then, yeah, so, but then mull that over and we'll put you, so Craig just volunteered to be the one when we talk about public engagement, to be the one to kind of bring that up and like do that at a meeting. Are you willing to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that'd be great.
Awesome. Thanks. Okay, thanks Heidi on the comp plan. I know it's tough and you're doing a great job, so thank you. Okay, so next on old business was that Chinook ADA cover that the high school coordinator for the wood shop had said that his students, it was just too much for his students. So my next plan was to, I was told by a few people that sometimes the Latter-day Saints have Eagle Scouts, or they have to do projects. They need to complete some kind of community project. And I was going to reach out to them to see if maybe that might be something that some of their kids would be interested in doing. So I was just going to let you guys know, if, unless you don't think that's a good idea, but I still think it's a great project for someone to do, whether it's, you know, an Eagle Scout or a community or a church would be great. So I was just kind of giving you a heads up that that's still going forward. And the next thing is grants. So Heidi did mention there is one grant that's available to us and it's due in May, and it is the recreation. She calls it RICO, but it's not RICO. So it's the Youth Athletic Facilities Grant from the state Recreation and Conservation Funding Board. It's every other year. So it's due in May, this 22 for funding for next year. They only pick, we're only allowed to pick one park. And so we had talked about Chinook Park as one of our needs for the basketball court. And so I forwarded that information to Sarah Bisson to say that we should, you know, we should go for that grant. We should at least try for that. But it needs to be approved from the mayor and then the council, obviously going forward. So we're just kind of in a holding pattern for that. But Heidi's right, our comp plan has to be better.
When you say Chinook, I thought North Bay was the one that had a basketball court.
Chinook and North Bay have a basketball court.
Oh, boy,
Chinook's is in the worst condition.
I have to drive by and check that out.
Well, it is, but the lights at, from what I thought John said, it's the lights at North Bay that are falling over that they may end up removing, but the Chinook one is in really bad condition for using it during the day.
Yeah, yeah.
So we may lose lights at North Bay.
So anyway, so that's, we'll see what happens with that. And you know, I've asked for Sarah to give us any other grant opportunities. I'm looking into, there's grants from the Grace Harbor Foundation grants. There are the Little Community Project grants at Craig. I don't know if you're familiar with the Little Community Project grants.
No.
So what those are is, really quickly, our state representatives are given some access to funds to ask the state to fund a small community project. It's not a lot of money, but it's something. And so that would have to, you know, go to our state rep like Theringer. It's Theringer. Oh gosh, I can't remember the other two and I apologize for that. I should have written it down. So that's one that I'm looking into as well as the Grace Harbor Community Foundation. And I know, Craig, you have a lot of experience in grants, so maybe we can just put our heads together and see what we can come up with. But I really think that the more grants we have, the less burden on the city to do some funding that are specific for parks. Under new business, chapter 3 for the comps plan.
Okay, chapter 3 is the chapter that is titled North Beach School District Recreational Facilities. And it basically consists of nothing more than a table of contents to be able to describe some of the facilities at North Beach. high school and then Ocean Shores Elementary, and that's all it consists of. So, the question that we have, and I'm not sure we need an answer today, but I think we need to revisit this, is, I mean, my concern is do we really want this plan to be all encompassing, or do we want to focus it on Ocean Shores facilities, not the school district facilities? Because they also bring in the next chapter, chapter 4, deals with the Washington State Parks, open spaces and other recreation facilities. So for the RCO purposes, I'm not sure that we really need that North Beach and the Washington State thing. And I think that the purpose would be if you were trying to make the point that you had these because you didn't have enough of your own to fulfill. But I think we have enough of our own to fulfill. Now, if we were going to expand recreation activities here, like have a intramural softball league or something like that, maybe we would want to take advantage, or soccer or something, maybe we'd want to take advantage of some of the facilities at the school district. Or, for example, the school district happened to get their bond passed and they ended up with their performing arts center. Would we want to have things where parks could partner with them for like a summer rec type program or adult rec program that, that offered something there? So, but at this point, I guess I'm just looking for input of do we need these?
You could always pull those out of the plan itself and attach them later on in the appendices, because it's good context around the regional services, but it doesn't need to be embedded within the plan itself.
I agree.
That allows us to move forward with the plan, and then we can always attach the appendices later on.
So that's a good suggestion. I was thinking maybe, we just mention them that they are available in chapter 1, but then we get the plan done, and as we have time, if we develop them, we can add them on.
Yep.
So, yeah, it was a good suggestion.
So is that a motion then to do that, or,
Well, wait a second, Ed had a comment.
oh, sorry.
So why should the school and state parks be part of the Ocean Shore City Parks? Why should they?
Comp plan.
Comp plan, why should they even be part of that?
I think they require demand analysis and that you have enough that you could show that you can meet your demand with what you have available. And so if we were a community that we didn't, then maybe we want to be like, but look, we have these other things available to us. But I don't think that that's our issue.
Okay,
So that's why maybe they.
so then I think we should go with Craig's idea. I think that sounds like a perfect plan to me.
Good solution.
Yeah.
So we have to make a motion to do that, don't we?
So I just want to make sure what your motion is.
Yeah,
Yes.
a motion to pull chapter 3 out of the comp plan and have it attached later on as an appendices when the time allows for update of those sections.
I second that.
Chapter 4.
All in favor?
Wait a second.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, so pull it, chapter 3 out of the plan and
And
add
four,
it as an
and four.
and 4, and add it as an appendices,
Mhm.
something after that.
At a later date when time allows.
At a later date, when time allows. Okay, I want to ask though, if I can amend that, to be that we will mention them in chapter 1. Are you okay with that? So we will at least say that these are available, but we're not addressing them in our comp plan because we feel we have enough inventory.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, is that you good with that, Kristen, or?
Well, he made the motion. I second the motion. All in favor?
Well, right, but the motion's been amended.
I second the motion to adopt the motion as amended.
So, yeah, second motion, okay. All right. Did we do that right? Because we amended, he accepted the amendment, and then we had this, and then, I can't remember what you do after you second, after you accept the amendment, if you have to vote.
There's a vote
We
now.
didn't amend it, really, we didn't vote on it.
Yeah,
Yeah, we didn't vote on it.
Yeah,
There's no amendment to the amendment, yeah.
so, yeah, well, we didn't vote on the earlier motion, so if, we wouldn't have to revote to amend that motion. We
Oh,
just
okay,
make a
Okay,
new motion
just
now
accept it,
to push
okay.
it through as it is written.
all
But
right.
if you wanna make the motion now that you have it written in front of you, you can see it all nice and clearly.
Oh, you're great, okay. All right, so the motion is to pull chapter 3 and 4 out of the plan and add them as dependencies at a later date. When time allows, except, okay, so it's gonna be pulled, okay. Alright, so the motion is to pull chapters 3 and 4 out of the plan, but to retain mentioning the facilities at North Beach and the state in chapter 1, and instead to add the detail as appendices at a later date when time allows.
Second.
All in favor?
Uh,
All right. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. That's a great idea. Okay. Next up is discussion of fresh waterways. I met with the president of the Fresh Waterways, Steve Borba, last week. And I met with him because there are a lot of parallels between parks and fresh waterways. And one of them was they were actually talking about funding for a kayak launch. And so, and that would of course require a park. And so that led to other discussions and just an open communication between the two. And so part of those discussions were boat launches, is that really a fresh waterway or is it a park? Because it does fall into the water, and is it a utility? So there was just some really great dialogue and discourse between us. And, so I felt like he and I could meet more regularly and just talk about what they're talking about and what we're talking about, just so we're not stepping on each other and we're actually helping each other to get some things accomplished. And I can, it was a nice conversation. It was about an hour and a half. So I was just going to let you guys know that going forward, I think that Steve and I feel like we're going to do that more just to keep the lines of communication open. Let's see what else. That was about it there.
I a couple fresh water way maps and brought them with me, if anybody's interested.
Oh, great. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, great.
I only brought 2, but
Okay, we can maybe make some copies.
they're on the rack at the visitors information center.
Oh, okay. All right, any reports are next. I really don't have anything new to report other than what I just kind of talked about with Steve Borba. Chris, do you have anything new to report?
I also picked up one of the event calendars and
At the the convention center calendar?
yeah.
Okay.
And there's gonna be the fishing derby at North Bay Park on May 7th, and the Elks Club handles that.
Okay.
I'm wondering if, I think they work with John Wagner. But should they contact us and let us know that they're using the park, is my question?
I don't think they need to contact us. No,
They never have, so I was just wondering.
no. That's good. That's happening again. That's great for the kids.
It's good, yeah.
Okay. Great.
That's look forward to.
Okay, great. Heidi.
Or
Nope. Okay. Ed, do you have anything?
Well, I just like to make sure that it stays on the agenda. I think it's imperative that we, I know we have a lot on our plate right now and we're busy, but to keep consideration of a Parks Foundation and getting a 501c3.
Yeah.
If we put, we need to find out who can do that for us, who might be willing to do it for us for free, whatever the thing is. But it gives us the opportunity to get hands-on money right now. So that we could do things with like that ADA cover, instead of having to ask everybody and their brother if they would be willing to help, we could maybe just hire somebody to do it if we had Parks Foundation and the funds on hand. So that's all I'd like to say. Otherwise, no, thank you.
Yeah. So Ed, I must have been confused. You had talked about that the Parks Foundation was closing the private 501c3 But then you were going to look into getting a public 501c3.
Right, right, but it is just too convoluted with the old foundation, with Michael and the people involved, and it is just too convoluted, it can't be changed over, it can't really be changed over.
Right.
I don't know how, now there's even less money in that foundation, you know,
Right.
than there was before. I think basically we should just let Michael, you know, he called me, sent me an email, we need to get together, but he hasn't done that. I think we just need to let that be and just move forward on our own.
Right.
With our own establish our own 501c3, get our own foundation put together, get the paperwork in, the quicker we can get rolling on that. And then down the road, if Michael still has money in his foundation, maybe he can give it to us. So, I don't know.
Okay, so that's right. That's what you talked about before, and I thought that you were gonna, I must have been confused, and I'm sorry. Is there any, I thought that you, because you had the experience that you were going to go ahead and look in doing a public.
I have the experience of running one because I have one, but I had all of the paperwork, I had all of the paperwork done by an outside company that just
Okay,
jammed it through. But I'll do this. I will in this week or beginning of next week, I will go ahead and call our attorneys at law here and see if I can make an appointment with them and just have a discussion as a member of the Parks Board and see if they, because they're the ones that put the 501c3 together for Michael at the time. So maybe they'll do it for us. I mean, there's still some cost involved, filing fees and the money that the IRS takes, but it's minimal. So I will do that, and I will have, even though I won't be here next meeting, I'll have something for Heidi to announce prior, or to let you know prior on that, okay?
Okay, that'd be great, yeah, because if we can know what they'll do and what they'll charge us.
I will-
what expenses,
I will
we
do
can
that.
we can maybe get donations to get it started.
Yes, I will do,
Because we can't, the board, the foundation and the board can't be the same thing.
right, I understand that, but the foundation would be a big asset for the
Right.
board. So I will do that, and I will get that information to Heidi prior before I leave,
Okay,
okay?
perfect, thank you.
thanks. Okay, Craig, do you have anything to report?
Not today, yeah, just been taking it in, well, I guess I'll add that, again, happy to assist, I have experience with public outreach and engagement, so happy to assist with that portion of the parks plan, and the fishing derby, the May 7th one, seemed like it could be a great opportunity if we're ready for it at that point, to at least preliminarily get out and, do some canvassing around, community interest with the parks, comprehensive plan update. And then Ed, also happy to connect with you on 501c3 and articles of incorporation and all that.
Okay, that'd be great. So, yeah, so before we leave, make sure I have your phone number.
Will do.
Let's touch base, okay?
Sounds great.
The fishing derby is, from my experience, it's quite chaotic, really, it's like really fast and really sharp.
Yeah.
It's like, they bring the kids in, they let them fish, and then I mean, cause I remember one time, I was gonna stop by the fishing derby, it's 2 PM. And there was no people left, it was like they were gone.
Oh, yeah.
They had
Early
actually,
morning.
they put up a pool, you know, put fish in the pool for the little kids to fish in, and the pool wasn't even there, I'm like, whoa.
Wow.
Very efficient.
Okay, next up, Lisa Scott, our council liaison. Hi.
Hi, so thank you, and I'll make it really quick. We're having our council retreat on the 26th. So I will be bringing the parks recommendations for funding and what those priorities are, because this is where we're starting to talk about the budget for the next biennium. So I want to make sure that we discuss that and we get some funding in the budget for parks. I think part of what came about, and it'll be great to have Angie here when she's more available to talk about budget, but I think what Bob was referring to is part of that overall budget that Catherine mentioned is, yes, part of it, a lot of it's used for public works, for the maintenance of the parks in terms of mowing and things like that. But then also a chunk of the money that's in that budget goes to this program. The school for kids program. So it would be nice to get Angie in to find out exactly what's left, for that, for improvements, grant matches, and so on and so forth. I did ask, I'll touch base with the mayor and find out how he wants the how he wants it to come in if we are going to apply for the grant through RCO. That requires a hefty match from the city, and I don't believe it's in the budget to cover that match. So we need to figure out if the city is willing to meet that match. And I think that would be priority number one, to figure that out.
It's my understanding though that RCO grants, because we're a small city, we're capped at a certain dollar amount.
Yeah.
We don't get access to the $350,000. It's like capped at like, is it 75,000 even if that, 50,000? So it's not huge. So and I think the match is 50%. It's my hope that we can maybe reach out to other, like the Grace Harbor Community Foundation, and get some money from them to help with the match.
Okay. All right. I'd like to have it, that's a great idea. I still like to see what the city's willing to if they're willing to meet the match as well, if necessary.
Okay.
So that it doesn't delay applying if you want to apply.
Okay, that would be great.
If there's anything in particular you want me to report to back to them, just, shoot me an email, let me know. But like I mentioned, we're going to be having the retreat on the 26th of this month. So I want to talk about park priorities and making sure that we get some funding for those in the next budget cycle.
Could you could you ask the mayor, or if you ask directly, I'm not sure, when Angie Folkers could join a parks meeting, when her next availability is?
I will find out, make sure she can be there.
Great, thank you.
Lisa,
Thank you.
is the retreat, when they're going to talk about the ARPA funds too, or is that happening at a different time?
I think we'll be talking about a multitude of things. So ARPA funds will be, I believe, will be a part of that.
Do you think there's a possibility that, I know you can't, it's not up to you, but do you think there's any possibility that there may be some ARPA funds for parks, or do you think it's pretty much?
I honestly have no idea. I think it was pretty much allocated out, not that it can't really change the first round anyway. So I'll learn a little bit more at the retreat for that, and I will report back.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Last up are park inspections.
I have a question.
Oh, Chris, do you have a question?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Lisa,
Oh, sorry.
I have a question for Lisa.
Okay.
So if ARPA funds may not be available for us on the first rounds, and everyone's aware of the condition, especially of our parks, besides applying for grants, we have no budget. What do we do? Why are we here? What can we do?
Well, and that's why I think it's really imperative when we do our retreat that we talk about the parks and we start allocating some money toward the parks. And so that's the first step, is to get it into the budget. And when emergencies arise, we just need to beat on the council. I mean, things pop up that aren't budgeted for, and we have the ability to do amended budgets. So there is some ability there. A lot of times they like to figure out, at least on a quarterly basis, where the revenues are coming in for the year and determine if we're up or down or sideways or whatever. So I can't answer that question, but there usually is always a path forward. I just at this point in the juncture don't know what it looks like, but for me, the retreat is coming up very quickly, and I want to make sure that parks are in the budget for the next budget cycle, because that's most important. And then after that conversation, then come back to present day and see if there's money in the budget to take care of some of the immediate needs for the remainder of this year.
Okay, so just a follow-up on that is, when we started the parks board here, our goal was to improve our parks and upgrade them. And where we've come to now is a point where we're finding out that we're losing our parks, that our parks are deteriorating. And we're now fighting just to get them back to what we thought they were before we started. Okay, so take that, please, with you to your retreat and your city council meeting. That's all I got. Thank you, Lisa.
You're welcome. Thank you. That helps tremendously.
Sarah had something that she wanted to say.
Well, the only thing that I was gonna say is that the parks hasn't had a voice for 2 years, 3 years at this point. Every budget season, every single board is invited to do a budget presentation and ask for an allocation of money. I work with the radio board, they bring it, it was X amount of dollars, whatever they have in their line item. Budget is money that they requested for specific things, operating supplies, you know, that's gonna be your guys' time to figure out what you need for the biennium budget to do the things that you want to do, because you will get, there's budget calendar, Angie sends it out. And then you guys get invited to a specific council meeting to do a budget presentation. And the city council goes through those budgets and approves and doesn't approve or approves. And that will be the time that you guys ask for money. No one's done that for several years now. So that will be when you guys do have, this is where we want our money,
But now
show it here, not included with all of the maintenance and all the stuff. This is for, you know, improvements or what have you. That'll be your time to say, you know, we wanna see ourselves separate for these things, and we need this much money to do it over the biennium.
And that'll be for us now next year, right?
That'll be for you, and that starts at around June.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
It's over
Okay.
the summer and she says when the budget.
Yeah, I mean, they
Okay.
go hard into it, and so all of you, you'll see radio, you'll see fresh waterways, and then that's where your council liaison will come in, because she's gonna vet those things after attending
Got it.
these meetings, but
Okay, thank you for explaining that.
So then it would be privy for us to kind of outline what that budget request is like really soon in the next 2 meetings before that June timeline.
so you'll see a calendar come out. I don't want you to preemptively, like, you know, cause you're working on so many things, but you'll see that calendar come out, and I distribute it to all the boards, Angie distributes it to the city. And that's when they start, and you'll get but you're gonna wanna, you know, downscale, cause it's not like, I wanna go to Chinook Park and do 300,000, there's gotta be a principal reason and what it's for.
Gotcha.
But even if it's maintaining, like if we think, hey, we need to do X, Y, and Z playground equipment, this is the estimated cost, we need to at least get there. If you end up going over, that's when we requested that difference as a budget amendment from the city. So it's giving them some numbers that you can work with.
It's a start on it.
Yeah.
Jump up. Thank you.
Thanks, Sarah. Okay, park inspections. So Chinook, Spinnaker for mine they're fine, no problems there. I'll just go Chris. How are your parks?
It was good. Last time I drove by and looked around, that was just like 2 days ago.
Good. Ed?
Well, not everything's the same at the skate park. It still needs attention badly. And we've lost a slide over at Milo. Otherwise,
Mhm.
everything's the same.
Okay, yep. Heidi?
I have nothing to report, I'll tell you, I've just been, yeah, so, yeah. But I will for the next meeting, I'll go check them out, but I didn't have time.
Are you, oh shoot, I don't have, are you Gunderson, Heidi?
Yes,
I was just by there the other day. It was fine.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. So Craig, you don't have any parks yet. So how we divvied that up before was, I mean, mostly by geography of where we lived, but that was pretty loosely based. It was just an easy way to pick some parks. it's about 2 parks. How many, I felt like, Chris, you've got a few parks, right?
I have 3.
Yeah, Chris and I each have 3, but I don't know whether Craig has an interest.
Right, right.
Everybody has 2. So I don't know if Craig has an interest in any particular park or that you want to take and ask, because we can make multiple adjustments.
I guess it just depends on if you're mainly looking at the developed parts or the undeveloped parts.
Just
Developed.
Okay,
They use.
Just the list that you have in front of you, all those parks. So that's what we look at. And then if there's an issue, we report it to John Wagner.
yeah, well, I think, I'm not picky.
Should Heidi and I both give him one of ours and then we'll all have
I
2?
live
Yeah.
right next to Gunderson,
All
so,
right, I'll give you Gunderson then.
okay,
Okay.
Gunderson, and which one?
whatever you want, you don't want.
Chris, which one do you want to give him?
Oh gosh, mine are all so close, it doesn't really matter. I'll give you, I feel like I'm playing Go Fish. How about, the North Grand Canal North, it's right behind the old Ace Hardware.
Okay.
You can check it out
Here?
on your way to IGA.
Yeah, it's just right over there.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, great, perfect. And Anna's not here to report, so,
I have 2. Right, okay.
you got that, Heidi, for the notes?
Yeah.
Okay, so, our future next meeting is April 13th at 1 o'clock at the library. I think that wraps it up. Can I have a motion? I need a motion to adjourn the meeting at 2:37.
I just have one question.
Oh, sure.
Am I still a park board member? Did my application get accepted?
Oh, were you fired?
Tomorrow, yeah. I dropped it off. You were there.
Yeah, so should have gone on this agenda so we'll just amend the agenda to add you. So the next council meeting, which is Monday, you would be announced for consensus.
So it did get approved.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Does she have to be re-sworn in?
I don't think so. We
Yes.
never, we
Yeah.
did.
Yes,
We never did.
Yeah.
Meetings. Michael Darling just said, do you want to keep going? Okay.
Oh, no.
no.
That's how.
Well, welcome back, Chris. Okay.
Thank you. I feel like this is the real deal now.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So,
Thanks for not giving up on us. Okay, so let's, I need a motion to adjourn at 2:39.
Craig made that motion.
All right, all in favor?
Uh,
All right, meeting adjourned unanimously. Thanks, you guys. Really appreciate it.
Great, thank you.